included for our exam almost everything, right? We have the first Americans. We have first from Europe. We have Puritan New England, exploration and settlement of colonies, the American Revolution, part 1 and part 2. So we have many lessons, right?
Colonies
I
lesson.
just removed the Virginian beginnings. You don't have it for your exam. This will be a little bit of too much because I already made the exam. Okay, we have the first Americans. All right. So what can you tell me about the first Americans? What do you know about them? Who they are?
We said that we have different versions about the first Americans.
So from the picture that you see, probably this person, you know him.
Christopher Columbus.
Okay,
Who would
great.
expect Christopher Columbus?
Christopher Columbus, yes. So what do you know about Christopher Columbus? Was he the first one who explored or discovered America?
No.
He discovered the New World.
Christopher Columbus was praised for being discovered in 1492. Did America exist since 1492 or before?
Yeah. Before, of course.
Okay, yes, good. So he is an Italian who belongs to Spanish monarchy. You all know about him. We have in our lectures that he's just remember these footnotes. Remember these footnotes. Maybe you can just remember, Bill, when you see the recordings after, or maybe I can share with you the PPTX later.
Yeah.
Take a look over it. So he said from Europe to Asia. Okay, we know that. So what do you know about him sailing from Europe to Asia? And why does he belong to the Spanish monarchy and not the Italian? He's an Italian himself. Who can tell me about this? Nobody?
Was he a traitor? Was he a traitor? For Italian. And he used to work for I don't understand the question.
Not really.
Miss, what was the question?
I said why Christopher Columbus belonged to the Spanish monarchy and why he sailed from Europe to Asia. What was the reason for that?
He was sailing because he wanted to go to India to bring some.
Is it just me, or can you hear like Galaxy Tab A clearly? Because sometimes I find like I'm hearing like inside of a bottle or something. It's so echoing.
Remove the AirPods.
Yeah, I think because
Yes, I'm wearing my AirPods. I removed them.
Okay, great. You can just mute yourself sometimes if you have a lot of noise at home, and
Yes.
yeah, and you can speak when you want to speak. Yeah, what did you say again?
He will sailing to Asia to bring some things from India, and he lost his way. So he thought that he's in India, but he was in America.
Okay, excellent. Yes.
Miss, I believe the spices. Yes, to bring spices.
Bring spices.
Yeah.
Yes, good, excellent. Yes, he went to India because
Miss?
India. Yeah. Hello.
I think he was looking for a sea road to get to India.
Yes, a new
Yes, a new sea
road.
road.
Yes, a new sea road to India. That's good.
it.
Yeah, that was the reason. And his reason for visiting India was to bring spices. That's why.
Yes.
Yes.
Looking for a road trade.
Yeah? What do you
Looking
say?
for Silk Road portraits.
Yeah. Okay, great. So you all know the answer. So he sailed from Europe to Asia, but he found himself in America, right? His
He was
reaction.
he think that he's in India, and after that he thought that he discovered a new word.
And he called the name, or he named the natives Los Indios. He
Yes.
was the one who named them Indians because he thought he was in India, so he named them
Not in
Indians. Okay, good. Amazing. So what about Americo Vespucci? What do you know about Americo Vespucci?
the Italian discoverer who in 1462, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I
They
think America was named after him,
Yes,
after his
Yeah.
name.
yes, yes.
and he was the first one who discovered America before Christopher Columbus, and they found the different books and notes about America and the natives
Exactly,
people.
yes. Yes, excellent. So he was honored by his name because he discovered before Christopher Columbus. So this why is named Americo Vespucci. But we said that we all know that Christopher Columbus is the most known in all history, and every day when you ask anybody about it, they all tell you that Christopher Columbus was the one who discovered America. Well, America was not even named after him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, who are the first Americans? I mean, I just gave you a hint about it.
Miss,
Yes.
Are the first people who came
please,
from
I want to ask you,
Yes, we saw it.
who discovered America first? Christopher Columbus or Amerigo? I didn't get it.
Americo discovered, it was found that Americo Vespucci, he knew about America and he discovered America before Christopher Columbus, okay?
Okay, thank you.
And it was between the same years between Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus was in 1492 and Americo Vespucci, we don't know exactly when it was, exactly which year, but we know it was in 1490s too. Okay? So, but yeah, but we have other people that discovered America long thousands years ago. Who?
the Clovis?
Clovis, yes.
I think they were hunters who were
Yes.
looking for animals to hunt.
Yeah. Yes, excellent. Yes.
Yes.
They were
So
hunters.
they passed the bridge between the Americas and Asia.
Yeah, exactly. So when you just take a look over this is the picture animated for the Clovis, how they were
Okay.
looking like and how what do you know about this animal? I mean, what about this climate and this? What do you know about this climate? What do you think of it?
They,
The mammoth
they
during the Ice Age.
Yes, Ice Age.
during
Yeah.
that time
Mammoth, yeah. And we know that the mammoth marked the end of the Ice Age, right? Have 15 to 40,000 years ago. Okay, the Clovis existence. It was between 15 to 14,000 years ago. And we have a land bridge, as your friend mentioned, which is Mygia. And after that, we found out that they disappeared from archaeological records. What were the only things that were left as for their archaeological records? What are the things that were left for it? What do you think? Yes, excellent. Yes. And we have only one archaeological
hunting
place.
tools.
And we have also another archaeological place, which is known as the Cactus Hill, we said. I don't know if you remember that, but there are some ruins. Okay?
What was the name again?
Cactus Hill.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. So we have explorers from Europe. Okay? Who are these explorers from Europe? Hmm?
The first one was the Spanish people, and after that was the English people.
Hmm? Do you think so?
The
Can
Viking.
I answer?
I heard someone said something.
The Viking was the first.
Yes, excellent. The Vikings were the first, which we call this pre-Columbian exploration. Okay? So there is a possibility when the Chinese mentioned that they had a voyage to Mexico in 459 AD after death. But since it has no proof for that, it was just some, myth they were saying about it and some legends about it. So it's not a proof for this. We have the Vikings exploration. What do you know about the Vikings? Can you name me someone that was really known? We talked about him many times.
Leif Erikson.
Leif Erikson.
Yes, excellent. Leif Erikson, yes. So Leif Erikson, what did he do exactly?
I think he made a trip from I think Greenland or something like that to what is nowadays Canada.
He discovered the land named Vinland.
Vinland, yes.
Yes. Why was it named Vinland? We said it was the land of wine. Yeah. Yes. And so what was the reason for his exploration? New land?
Yeah.
To make a settlement there.
Make a settlement. Yes. Why? But why exactly there?
Searching for resources.
Resources like what?
Gold.
Gold? Did you say gold?
The person who knew about gold in America was Christopher Columbus, not the Vikings, no?
I cannot hear you clearly. So basically, he went to America, to this land which is named Vinland, because of what? Because they were looking for something to hunt again, right? Hunting reasons. It was for food reasons. Like
Okay.
every time they try to explore new lands, whether it's about food or it's about because a shortage of food resources.
Religious mission?
No, not religious. No, not religious. Religious is not about them at all. That's came later, which we are going to tackle and talk about later. Okay. So you need to take a quick revision about it, like about Leif Erikson, Vinland, and his settlements. And he couldn't resist living there. Why?
Because the climate was hard.
Yeah, it was really, really harsh. That time the climate was so harsh. It was comparing to
There were a lot of
yes.
hardships.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah. And later on we have other explorations. We have the Spanish, we have all others explorations that we talked about in details in each lesson, especially the Spanish one.
Yes.
Okay. So now we move to Puritan New England. Everything about Puritans. What do you know about
them? They were a group of English people who came to America seeking religious freedom.
Yes, excellent. Yes. Religious
but
freedom.
I think before moving to America, they were Protestants. They were kind of fanatics.
I mean, when you hear something like when you hear the word Puritan, what comes to your mind?
They want to purify the Christianity
Excellent, yes.
from the remains of Catholicism.
Yes, excellent, yeah. Yes, excellent. So they wanted to purify Christianism. Yes, that's why they were named Puritans. And they also go by the name, as your friend mentions, Protestants. Okay. And also they were named pilgrims when they went to America. What is the meaning of pilgrims?
To find another land
I
where
think the meaning
they
of
can practice their religious freedom.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
the pilgrims means someone who travels from a very far land.
No, that's not the real. That's not the
Same
name
as
meaning.
Puritans, no?
What?
It's the same as Puritans, no?
No, but it has another meaning. Pilgrims. We have many pilgrims. Not only the Protestants can be pilgrims.
I think when we talk about pilgrims, we mean people who are looking for a sacred land.
It's a name for the messengers of God. Okay? Messengers of God.
They wanted to worship God in their own way.
They wanted to worship God in their own way? You think so?
Not really. I think they were just seeking for a land where they can practice their religion in all freedom.
Yes, true. If they want, because at that time, the church, we talked about it before, that Christians at that time, they were becoming more, more, when we say not restricted in a way, they were like kind of doing literally everything without restrictions, without following the real message of God, which that they claim the Puritans they have it, which is following the exact message of God. This is why they were called the Puritans and Pilgrims, which are the messengers of God. So they were seeking religious freedom. We said it. They went in 1620 and they established in Massachusetts. Okay, remind me of the name Massachusetts.
Yes.
What?
Massachusetts. What is the meaning of the name Massachusetts?
It's, I think, in native language.
Yes,
But the
excellent.
meaning, I don't know.
Yes, excellent. Yes, it's a native language. Yes, and actually the name of Massachusetts is, the meaning of it is a city on a hill, which is, we have dealt with a city upon a hill. Remember with John Winthrop?
Yes.
Yeah, that sermon, which is about John Winthrop, because probably you will have something about it in exam. Who knows?
City upon a hill.
What?
Yeah, John Winthrop's sermon.
Miss, could you repeat
okay.
about Massachusetts?
Massachusetts. Who is drawing over? Anyway, so Massachusetts, we said it's a name. It's in Native American. Why they named it after Native Americans when they didn't like them? Have another name. Basically, we know they didn't like them.
So maybe to prove to them that they like them and manipulate them that they are here being friends with them only, not trying to take their land.
Yes. Somehow, in a way, it was that one of the reasons. Do you remember when I told you about Thanksgiving? Why was it celebrated between who exactly?
Or was celebrated between the Native Americans and the ones who came from Europe, taking the land of them, and they were trying to make sulh between them, like we are here to celebrate with you, and we'll give you food and etc.
Yeah, so basically at the beginning, okay, why it was named Massachusetts, which is leading to the Thanksgiving. It was named Massachusetts because one of the Indians was helping at that time. They faced at the beginning harsh conditions. We said that they went in winter and it was frozen, and so they suffered, but this one Indian helped them in a way. So some of them survived. Well, you know that most of them have died, but he did help them in order to survive, and that's why they honored his people, like with this name, Massachusetts. Okay, so
Wasn't he enslaved?
he was enslaved, yes. He was
He
enslaved.
was. Yeah.
Yes, he was enslaved indeed. Yeah, but he didn't know
Yeah.
what is enslavement was.
Enslavement means, yeah.
Yeah, he was just being like accepting the fact that he needed to help or something, but he didn't know it was a slavery.
So
Yes,
that's all.
exactly. We can
They
say
were
he
too
was.
good.
We can say he was too naive.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, so this Native American helped, and they celebrated later after a year of survival. They celebrate this Thanksgiving. We have also the foundation of Bay Colony, which was found in John Winthrop's sermon, which is a biblical speech that we have tackled in class. We've corrected it in class. So take a look over the correction about what we talked about and try to read it sometimes, okay?
Okay.
All right. Exploration and settlement of colonies. Ooh, let's listen. You basically just need to memorize everything, right? It's just about
The colonies' names,
memorization.
for example.
You need to memorize why they established in Virginia, why they established in some like in other lands. For example, we have
Maryland, for example.
Maryland. Yes, exactly. Can you give us why they established in Maryland or Virginia?
I think it was considered as a heaven for Catholic people.
Catholics, yes, excellent. Yeah. Yeah. You just try to memorize. Maybe you can see some videos. Okay, I'll try to have a video.
Miss,
Yeah.
Miss, can you so should we memorize who was the governor and the characteristics of that colony?
No, not really. You know what you should
Not
memorize?
really.
Not really, yeah. You should memorize basically, for example, you memorize the dates and
Uh-huh.
the Virginia, for example, the most important lands. What are the most important lands that we know that we have talked so much in our lessons? We didn't talk so much about, for example, Maryland, as your friend mentioned. We didn't talk so much about, for example, South Carolina or North Carolina. We talked so much about Virginia, right?
Yeah,
We did. We talked about Massachusetts.
Yes.
Massachusetts.
Yes, yes, exactly. You need to memorize these important, their dates, their
Okay.
events, and that's it.
Okay, we should memorize their names, obviously, and the dates and the purpose. That's all?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Dates? Yes.
Yes.
Obviously, it's history.
Unfortunately.
So it's a big problem.
Unfortunately.
It's a big problem? I don't think so.
Yes.
Revolution. Ooh, the American Revolution. What do you know about the American Revolution? We have so many things happened in the American Revolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
At that time.
I don't
Oh,
know.
it was,
I
I think it was a revolution made by the 13 colonies in order to get their independence from the crown, the British crown.
Yes, excellent. Yeah. And what was the reason and what were the roots of this revolution that led to this revolution?
We can talk about the 7 Years' War.
Excellent, yeah.
There were heavy taxes imposed on the 13 colonies in order to, how do we say, recuperate, to get back their losses from the 7 Years' War.
Yes, excellent. Yeah, yeah, excellent. So we have, as of the roots of the American Revolution, we have, as your friend mentioned, the French and Indian War, or we call the 7 Years' War, which started in 1756. It was between, obviously, the British and, the French. And the British, who helped the British in this war? British in this war.
Mm-hmm.
I think of France.
No.
No, we are talking of the 7 Years' War, okay? Who held the British in this 7 Years' War? It was between the French
American,
and
French,
yes, American colonies.
American, French, I don't know. They are very
The
close to each
colonies,
other, so
yeah,
they
the
would
colonies.
obviously have.
So it was because of what? It was because of Canada and Louisiana. The French claimed Canada and Louisiana as their
Yeah, the
land.
French, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And it was because basically the French explorer Samuel de Champlain. I don't know if you remember him, but we talked about him and we mentioned him in the handouts too. He was the one who established settlements in Quebec and Montreal, and accept others to have lands beside them. And the French didn't accept.
So technically it was they
And
were greedy.
what?
So technically they were greedy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, they were greedy, and basically also the Americans. It was just like both of them didn't accept each other, and the sorry, not the Americans, the British didn't accept others to have colonies beside them. They wanted their own lands, and the French, they said we went there before because we mentioned that before, like in also between the year like 1530, I believe, we talked about it, which is when we said about explorers from Europe in 1530, when some explorers from the French monarchy, they went to America too. Okay, of American Revolution, which are the taxation. So we have all this, the Stamp Act of 1765, we have the Boston Massacre in 1770, and the Boston Tea Party. So what do you remember about the Stamp Act? What is it about exactly?
About trade, about taxes, etc.
Yeah, which taxes exactly? Because we have different taxes.
Taxes, I think, on tea.
On tea, yes. And what else?
Playing cards.
Yes, exactly. Yes, on playing
Newspaper.
cards, newspaper. Excellent.
Can I ask you here on the Stamp of Acts?
Yes.
Here they created the taxes here in this time in 1765.
Yes,
They
exactly.
start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that was the starting of taxation, because basically after the war of the 7 Year War, they've lost a lot of wealth, money, and in order to get that back, they wanted to pass on taxation, which basically many countries does nowadays, even they still exist. So so it's like people, they are paying for their own peace. And so they passed this taxation and people weren't really happy about it. So they started with, yeah?
I think it was because the British Crown wanted to give the privilege of exportation to the Indian companies.
Not really, because, well, if you search for the truth, and it was all about like getting their money back. That's it. Like the countries wanted to benefit from people who were seeking freedom, and in order to get, it's like if you want, it's like a give and take. If you want to you get your freedom, you need to pay some taxation, basically. And they obliged them to pay this taxation, but they weren't really great taxations, because basically they were taxing everything. And it started with, as I said, with the tea. And the tea was said it's the identity of the British. Basically, even when they moved to Americas, they wanted to get back their identity, which is like, drinking tea is so important to them. And they passed many acts on them. And we have also the Boston Massacre, which is basically, do you remember anything about the Boston Massacre? Against, the British. And this protest led to the killing of some of them, which is why we call the Boston Massacre. They started shooting at them when they were protesting, and basically these colonies, they were attacking the British.
Miss, can I ask you?
Yeah.
Why is it called Boston Tea Party? Why is it Tea Party? Were the Americans having a tea party, then the Native Americans started attacking them?
No, no, no. Who knows about the Boston Tea Party? What happened? Boston Tea Party, it happened 3 years after the Boston Massacre. And the Boston Tea Party, it happened because basically after that massacre, they didn't accept these taxations anymore. So instead of protesting, they threw out all the tea on the harbor. Okay? They threw the
Yes.
This is why it's called the Boston Tea Party. So, and the one who said that this is a Boston Tea Party was the king at that time of the British monarchy, and he said it's the Boston Tea Party.
It was an irony.
Exactly. It was an irony. It was the irony of what was happening. So, because for them, the water became all like tea. And yeah, so that's how it happened. This is why it's named the Boston Tea Party. After that, they passed another act, which made them more angry and more furious about what is happening. It was the Intolerable Acts, which has so many things to do also with papers and all other stuff, which they passed on them, and they passed many, many, many taxes, which led to the revolution, or
Miss,
Pay taxes.
basically the British monarchy.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, welcome. 75. You can remind me of that. What happened exactly? Facts. So we have, well, in those colonies, they had weapons, okay? And in order, because they saw that these people who they call themselves independent from the British monarchy, they were getting angry and they knew they were going to start a war. So basically, these British soldiers who were living in Boston, they got together and in order to, seize weapons to remove them from this people in order not to attack them. And one of these people in the colonies, or he heard about it and he just spread the word. Like the military men are coming and they are going to seize weapons from you, and so you need to defend on yourself. So they were ready, but they were ready to fight. And basically 70, only they had 70, like you can imagine the number, between 700 of military men, soldiers, against 70 American militiamen. Why we call them militiamen? Because we said basically they were farmers, tradesmen. They were acting as what? They were acting as, as soldiers when it comes to
They
war.
didn't represent an organized army.
Yes, exactly. So they didn't know much about being like soldiers, but they acted as soldiers when it's come the right time for it. This is why we call them militiamen. And they were also known as Minutemen. Can you tell me about Minutemen? Have you ever heard about it before? What?
They were ready to attack.
Yes, exactly. They were ready to attack. They were prepared to fight at a moment's notice. Like when there is a notice that you should attack, they had to attack. This, when they were standing against each other, one of these British soldiers, he said to these, militiamen, like he told them, like you need to take orders and to stop and just give us the weapons and that's it. So you can leave peacefully. Accepts, and one of this militiamen, he shot at him, and so the attacks started, and 8 Minutemen fell and they were dead, which led to the American Revolution. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so after that we have in May 1775, we have the Second Continental Congress. We said in 1774, there was the first Continental Congress. And this Continental Congress, basically, it was led by George Washington. It was just to establish a continental army, okay? Because the war is about to start, and they had to prepare themselves for the war. So George Washington, he prepared around 17,000 of men, okay? George Washington, do you know about him?
We have heard about him, yeah. We have heard about him, but I don't know his story, so.
I think he was the first president of the United States.
Yes, excellent. Yeah, he became later the first president of the United States. And what else? Do you know that he was actually a Virginia, sorry, landowner?
No.
Yeah, so basically
No.
he was a landowner as any other Virginians are landowners. We know these landowners of Virginia, they were basically most of them like really British with really great wealth, or British who were seeking for, for trade or something. So he was one of them, and he was also a military leader. He led to, the where like to the one of the 7 Years' War. Okay. And basically he was really known for his wars and fighting. So he led this Continental Congress. He led it because he knew what it was about wars and everything, and he trained some armies, and as I said, 17,000 of them were ready to fight. So in order the war to start, there was the war needs to be like spread, and it needs to be spread before they need anyone to know about it. And that was basically where in Massachusetts it started, and the Continental Congress declared something which calls Declaration of Independence. Do you know what was in Declaration of Independence? Do you think they got their independence like basically year after? Do you know anything about it?
I didn't understand the question.
So basically, after words spread and the war started, okay? We have this 17,000 men. They were fighting, and basically in Massachusetts there was the Continental Congress declared independence. Do you know what is the Declaration of Independence? Why they declared independence? Well, they were still fighting for war. Because basically not many know. Well, here we know that in the United States, we know that in July, they celebrate in the 4th of July. They celebrate their own independence. But do you know about the Declaration of Independence? Have you ever heard of it? It was a document. It was a document declared that they were free and independent from the British monarchy.
But they didn't declare this.
They did declare, but they weren't actually free. They were still fighting still fighting in the war.
So why they did put this paper that they are free and stuff like that?
So basically to spread the words between all of Europe and between all the world that they are free from the British.
So the other countries doesn't know that there's a war?
Well, they knew there was a war, but they knew after this Declaration of Independence that it's like a tactic move to say that we are winning. It's like when you are playing chess, you say check, which is like you are almost winning. It's like you're preparing your opponent. Yeah.
It has made it easier to seek help, military and financial help from foreign powers.
Mm-hmm. Where did you get that?
Miss.
Yeah.
And who are they? Are talk about who?
What do you think we are talking about? Like, who are these people we are talking about? We are basically still in America. We are talking about the colonies.
Yeah, I know, but it's about colonies.
They said that we are declaring independence. They had this document, which is called the Declaration of Independence. Okay. And they declared they are now independent.
Okay, so the colonists who wants the
Yes, who
independence.
were fighting against their own monarchy, their own country, which is Britain.
Okay, Miss.
Yeah.
And the land of Congress, it is where?
The Continental Congress.
Yeah.
Where it was the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in Massachusetts.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, you do have that in your lectures handouts, okay? You just
Yes. And Miss, I think all the 13 colonies participated to this Congress, except Georgia, I think.
Do you think it was Georgia? Are you sure about
Yes.
that? Yes.
I think, yes, I'm positive it's Georgia.
Yeah, why do you think Georgia didn't participate?
Because it's, I think it was a place where there were a lot of people who were connected to the English crown, to the English crown somehow. I think it was they were forces in order to protect the south boundaries from the Spanish Florida. So it was a little bit difficult to convince them to fight against the British Crown.
Yeah, but basically at the end they won and they got their independence. And so basically we said that Declaration of Independence was the truth about them getting their true independence, where they got their independence. If you think about it, like nowadays when you go to the United States, you find them celebrating the 4th of July because basically it happened in the 4th of July. They declared themselves finally free. Okay. And after that, they said that we are no longer belong to the British monarchy, but basically they were still belonging to it. Well, they wanted independence in a way. It's like they were spreading this, propaganda in order to get people thinking they were actually free. And who helped in this, in this revolution? Who helped the colonies? Because basically colonies, they cannot win by themselves. We said they are colonies. They have, basically they are not like military soldiers or anything like that. So who helped them?
I think
France, I suppose.
Yes, excellent. Yes, the French, yeah. The French helped them. Why would the French help them exactly?
Revenge.
Revenge. Oh, yeah, nice. It was revenge, and what else?
And maybe to ensure good relationships with the future state there.
To get benefits.
Benefits. Oh, benefits of what?
Resources, and because they lost many resources, so.
No, really.
Maybe another goal.
Who knows about Louisiana? Like, because basically it was still owned by, because basically after the war, after the French war, Louisiana still belongs to the French. And after that, they had to get their money back. And in order to do that, so basically they fought with them in war and they had to sell Louisiana to the colonies. Okay, so they maintained the good relationship between them. And also they wanted to they were seeking revenge, okay?
Yes. They were seeking alliance.
They were seeking alliance, yeah. Exactly. But it was for many purposes. As we said,
I think it was a kind of a deal.
Exactly. It was like a deal. And they helped a lot, but they helped in really to the point where they had the Treaty of Paris, which was the real independence and the real the end of the war. It was in 1783. Exactly. The war ended. And that was the end of the war. And it was why it was named the Treaty of Paris. Why do you think so? So basically, it was because if you think of it, it was signed in Paris. It was a treaty signed in Paris because it
Is
let
it,
what?
does it have is it connected with the war that happened in Paris? When we saw it in the movie Tadbu Essa, I don't know. I remember this when the French helped the American, and then the French had a war. I don't know, in Paris.
Well, it was like just honoring the French because of their help for them. So you know
I think so, yes.
yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, so basically they just wanted to honor them for their help, and they signed it in Paris, and it was named after them, which is the Treaty of Paris. And that Treaty of Paris ended the war. It was the end of the war, and that's it. It was in 1783. So the real war started in 1775 and ended in 1783. But basically, Americans always, like, they always celebrate 1776 and the 4th of July because of the Declaration of Independence. You also need to check Thomas Paine, like the Common Sense pamphlets. You can find it online. If you don't find it, tell me about it. I will, or maybe I will just send it to you in Google Classroom. You can read it. It's not really obligatory. It's not going to be like included in exam, but it's just for it's called Common Sense. It's number names and dates, and you have everything in your lectures, but I will send you this boutiques later. Okay? So is there anything you haven't understood? Do you have any questions?